Hello and welcome to this video tutorial that will present the initial strategy. The initial strategy is the first step of the allocation. The allocation strategy presents the submitter's vision statement on the intended use of a CERF allocation. The allocation strategy will be presented to the Emergency Relief Coordinator, ERC, as a basis for funding the allocation. It should be submitted to the CERF Secretariat as part of the initial funding request and should precede the development of a full application. There are three main steps to the initial strategy. First, the management of the initial strategy that follows the creation of an allocation. Then the drafting of the initial strategy by the country office. And finally the review of the initial strategy by CERF HQ and ERC's endorsement. Once a new allocation is created, CERF HQ will have to set up the allocation prioritization form and send it to the country office. To do so, the program officer will open the allocation prioritization form by clicking on this icon on the Task Name column of their home page. The form is composed of 5 tabs. First, the strategic prioritization shows how the agency will use the allocation to strengthen the humanitarian response and address underfunded humanitarian priorities. The second one, the operational prioritization tab, will provide information on funding, operational overview, and use of the allocation. Please note that for underfunded emergencies allocations this tab will only be displayed at the full application stage. The next tab, People Targeted, provides data on the total number of people affected by the crisis and the amount of people directly targeted by the CERF allocation. Then the Projects tab explains the coverage of sectors, clusters and the geographic coherence of the proposed response. Finally, all the documents pertaining to the allocation will be uploaded on the Documents tab by the country office. Once you have set up the allocation prioritization form, click on Continue to open the task page. The task page displays all the tasks that the program officer can perform at this stage of the allocation. Click here to draft the official email to the country office inviting them to fill in and submit the initial strategy form. Review and draft the email and click on Save and Finish to send the email to the window lead. Then the window lead will be able to review and send the email to the Chief of CERF, who will in turn review it and send it to the country office. To do so, the steps are the same for both users. From your homepage, click on this icon in the Task Name column to open the initial strategy email. From their task page, the window lead will click on Review Initial Strategy Email, Send to Chief of CERF. While the Chief of CERF will click on Send Initial Strategy Email. They will be redirected to the draft of the initial strategy email where they will be able to review and edit it. The window lead will click on Save and Finish to send the email to the Chief of CERF. And the Chief of CERF will click on Next to send the email to the country office. Now that the first step is completed, the second phase of the workflow is triggered, and the country office can start drafting the initial strategy. To open the form, the country office can click on this icon in the Task Name column from their homepage. The country office must fill in all the mandatory fields and send the draft to the CERF program officer. Mandatory fields are marked with a red asterisk. Please note that for underfunded emergencies allocations the operational prioritization tab will only be displayed at the full application stage. Once completed, you can click on Continue to open the task page that shows you all the actions you can take at this stage of the allocation. Click on Submit to CERF to submit the form to the program officer. Once the country office has sent the draft of the initial strategy, the program officer will receive it for preliminary review. The PO can click on this icon to open the initial strategy form. Once reviewed, go to your task page by clicking here. This is a new step, do not forget to change the text. If it requires a redraft from the country office, click here. Please ensure you have left comments indicating the required corrections. If it does not need further redraft or review, click here to draft the ERC endorsement request email and send it to the WL for review and action. It is mandatory to obtain the ERC endorsement's date and amount before continuing to the full application stage. The window lead will review the email and send it to the Chief of CERF, who will in turn send the email to request the ERC's endorsement. To do so, the different users involved in this process will have to follow the same steps as to send the initial strategy email. After ERC's endorsement, you must enter the date of endorsement and the amount endorsed in the allocation. To modify the allocation, follow this navigation. Allocations, then allocation list. All allocations that have been created are listed on this page. You can use the filter to research your allocation and click on Search. Click here to open the allocation. On the allocation, go to the Key Amounts and Key Dates sections. On these fields, indicate the amount in USD endorsed by ERC and the date of endorsement. Do not forget to save your data. Now that the allocation is updated with the necessary information, you can move the strategy to the full application. This is the end of our video tutorial on the initial strategy. Do not hesitate to contact us if you have any question or comment.